Eureka and the Bay region in general are undergoing an amazing amount of change because of offshore wind and Nordic Aqua Farm, the Google fiber that landed, the growth of Cal Poly Humboldt. Well, we have a very tight labor force now, and we have a very unaffordable, at least historically in our terms, housing. One that a lot of other places in the state have had to deal with, and now we are. St. Joseph's, provided the intersections funding. They also provided some funding to us at Economic Development to start having a series of meetings and luncheons where we just start talking about it and bringing in all these different perspectives.
Our Intersections Initiative Collaborative began being Westside Community Improvement. So when we were looking at the housing element and the zoning code, we were working with community development and with members of the city. But when we were looking at projects like this, we needed a bigger collaborative. The focus of our collaborative work was on housing equity. In Humboldt, like all around California and the country, we're experiencing a lot of homelessness, really high rent prices, a lot of really dilapidated buildings. As a team, as a group, we wanted to do something about that.
There was a real realization that we all had to come and all the perspectives were needed. So you couldn't just talk about housing for the privileged or housing for the underprivileged, the housing for the struggling and the housing for the professional. You really had to do it all because it's all a continuum, right?
Where we are right now is Skyhorse. Eventually is going to be an international travelers hostel. And the hostel will also be workforce development and training in the hospitality industry. Skyhorse is a field lab, and we're training justice involved addicts in recovery in a really necessary trade here.
I had like a really rough upbringing, and I had got into some trouble and I lost my mom, and that's when I decided to change my life. I just so happened to be introduced to Heidi. Well, that's what Heidi specializes in, helping people get that extra boost in life, that a person needs.
The pandemic had a real effect here in terms of a lot of new people coming in. We were also like the only part of the state that wasn't covered in smoke and still affordable. So we had climate refugees already coming, people moving from the Bay Area and elsewhere who were saying, we're just tired of having to evacuate every few years because of forest fires. Obviously it's creating displacement. And of course, those who are most vulnerable are the ones that get hurt. And ultimately, economic development has to be about improving the human condition.
Life is good now. I work. I was able to pick up some certificates on like OSHA certificates, lead handling certificates, and I also was able to join the union. I'm an apprentice looking for a job in the union right now.
From a CBO's perspective, upstream prevention is the key. If we can make this world a better place, a more healthy and livable community for our children and for our families, it's going to be a better place for all of us to live.